In this lesson, we're going to talk about anything as a service. Now, cloud computing has become a popular way for organizations and businesses to access and manage IT resources. And one of the most popular methods of cloud computing is what's known as anything as a service, or XaaS. Now, anything as a service is a cloud computing service model that refers to any service that is delivered over the internet. This includes software, infrastructure, and platform services, as well as much more. Now, anything as a service is a really broad term that's used to encompass all different types of as-a-services. This includes software as a service, infrastructure as a service, and platform as a service, as well as others. Let me give you an analogy to help understand what anything as a service is. Let's say, for example, that Dion Training wants to have a holiday party, and we want to be able to provide food and drinks and entertainment for our guests during that holiday party. Now, we could do this by cooking the food ourselves, buying our own drinks, and then hiring our own entertainment. But instead, we may want to take an easier approach by simply hiring a restaurant to do it for us. In this case, the restaurant will provide us with a full service experience. So we don't have to worry about the food, the drinks, or the entertainment. The restaurant is going to take care of everything for us. Similarly, a company like Dion Training that wants to use anything as a service doesn't need to worry about the underlying infrastructure, software, or platform needed to run those services. Instead, the anything as a service provider is going to manage all of that for us, and we, the company, will simply use the services provided by that provider. Now, anything as a service can really encompass a wide range of services, from basic infrastructure services like storage and computing power to more specialized services like cybersecurity and analytics. When using anything as a service, organizations do not need to invest in expensive hardware or software to run those services. So this saves them a significant amount of money up front, which we would normally refer to as a capital expenditure. Anything as a service providers are typically going to offer their services as a pay-as-you-go model, either on a monthly or annual basis. And this means that we, as customers, only need to pay for the services we plan to use instead of having this large upfront investment. Now, this can be beneficial for organizations that want to scale their services up or down quickly to respond to changes in their business needs. Another advantage of anything as a service is the ability to access a wide range of different services from that provider. For example, with anything as a service, an organization can access a variety of services, including software, infrastructure, platforms, and desktop services, all from a single provider. This can make it easier for an organization to manage all their IT resources and ensure they have access to all the services they might need. Anything as a service also offers the benefit of improved security because the provider is responsible for securing the services and the data that's being offered under this anything as a service model. This can help the organization to reduce the burden of maintaining their own security systems and allow them to instead focus on areas of the business that they are uniquely qualified to work in. Now, there are some drawbacks to using the anything as a service model. One of the main drawbacks is that the organization may be locked into a particular provider because switching to a different provider could be difficult and time-consuming. We refer to this as vendor lock-in. Additionally, organizations may be limited in their ability to customize services because they're using a pre-built solution. Another drawback to your business is that you may be paying a premium for the convenience and flexibility offered by anything as a service. The cost of using anything as a service can actually be higher than the cost of maintaining and managing in-house resources yourself. This can be a significant concern for organizations that are operating on a tight budget. Let me give you a quick example of this. One of the products we use is what's known as a desktop as a service, or DaaS. Now, a desktop as a service, I'm actually able to give my employees a Windows 10 desktop for them to use in the cloud using a standard web browser. Now, the benefit of using this desktop as a service is that I can add or remove new employees very quickly. So if I hire 5 new people today, I don't have to buy 5 new computers at $1,000 each. And instead, I can pay $25 per month for each of those 5 employees to be able to have access to a brand new computer. Now, this works out really well, especially if I have employees who are only going to be with me for 3 months or 6 months or maybe a year. But if that employee is going to be here for 3 years anyway, I'm actually spending a lot more to give them a computer using desktop as a service than I would by simply paying $1,000 and giving them a Windows 10 laptop for them to use on a daily basis. And so this is what I'm referring to when I talk about paying a premium for this flexibility. In this case, if I hire somebody and they're only with me for 6 months, I actually saved a lot of money by using desktop as a service. But if I hire somebody and they stay with me for 3 years, I actually would have been better off buying them a computer because it would have been cheaper in the long run. In addition to this, organizations also have to rely on internet access to be able to get to those services when you're using desktop as a service. And this can actually be a big issue if you're in an area where you have poor network connectivity. If the internet connectivity is poor for your employees, it's going to lead to slow service and decreased productivity or the inability for them to access their services at all. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the three major service providers once more and see what they're offering as anything as a service. First, we have AWS or Amazon Web Services. Now, Amazon Web Services has a service called the Elastic Container Service known as ECS. This is what we refer to as Containerization as a Service or CaaS. Now, you don't need to know Containerization as a Service for the exam. This is just one of those things that falls under the anything as a service because there are so many other services out there. Now, if you're going to be using the Elastic Container Service, you're going to be able to use that to have your users be able to run and scale containerized applications in the cloud very quickly. The Elastic Container Service is built on top of AWS's underlying architecture, and it provides your customers with the ability to scale their applications quickly and easily. Additionally, the Elastic Container Service is going to be able to integrate with other AWS services too, including the Elastic Load Balancing and Amazon's RDS or Relational Database System, making it a great way to be able to build and manage a complete application stack in one place. This allows your customers to focus on developing your applications rather than managing the underlying infrastructure. Now, if we look at Microsoft Azure, on the other hand, they have an example of anything as a service called Azure Functions. Now, Azure Functions is essentially what we refer to as a function as a service or FaaS product line. Now, Azure Functions are a serverless compute service that are going to allow users to run event-triggered code without the need to provision or manage infrastructure. This service allows customers to focus on the development of code and not worry about the underlying architecture. Additionally, Azure Functions integrate with other Azure services such as the Azure Event Grid and the Azure Cosmos DB, making it really easy to build and manage a complete application stack. Now, as we move into our third platform, known as GCP or the Google Cloud Platform, we can find ourselves looking at another example of anything as a service by looking at the GCP Cloud SQL service. Now, the GCP Cloud SQL service is essentially a database as a service or DBaaS. This service is going to allow customers to easily create and manage SQL databases in the cloud. Cloud SQL provides customers the ability to scale their databases quickly and easily and integrates with other GCP services, including cloud storage and the Google Kubernetes engine, making it quite easy to build and manage complete application stacks here too. So remember, when we're talking about anything as a service or XaaS, it really is any kind of cloud computing model that refers to a service that is being delivered over the internet. This can include things like software as a service, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, containerization as a service, function as a service, database as a service, storage as a service, security as a service, or whatever else as a service you want to put in here. This is the idea of anything as a service. It gives you access to all sorts of things, from storage to computing power, to cybersecurity, to analytics, and more. The concept of anything as a service has really expanded beyond traditional IT services and now encompasses even a wider range of connected services like transportation as a service if you're using Uber or Lyft, or groceries as a service when you're using a major grocery store's online app to order your food and pick it up curbside or have it delivered to your house. Anything as a service has truly evolved to include any service that is delivered via the internet with a flexible, pay-as-you-go structure rather than just moving your existing IT projects into the cloud. This new service model offers advantages such as lower capital expenditures and greater business flexibility than using traditional on-premise or in-house solutions as well, making it a great option for your organization to consider.